Esta no es una miel cualquiera, es miel de Manuka, y en su forma más pura, los 100 gramos pueden costar hasta $99. Eso es 100 veces más que el precio de una miel normal. Entonces, ¿por qué es tan cara? La miel de Manuka es conocida por ser más consistente y nutritiva que muchas otras, y procede del néctar de una flor llamada Leptospermum, también conocida como Manuka, que es originaria de Nueva Zelanda. Manuka es una palabra maorí.
The fact that it comes from New Zealand, that gives it a premium just to start with, and because the bee travels up to about 6 kilometres to collect this honey, and so this honey is representative of the environment, and that environment is of New Zealand, Aotearoa. The plant itself and the honey is very, very rare. Out of all the honeys in the world, it probably represents 1% of all the world honeys. It's difficult to harvest. It's only a 2 to 6 week harvesting period, and the flower is only open for 12 days. And in New Zealand we have wind and we have rain and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of luck involved in getting the bee, or a lot of effort from the beekeeper. And for some years there is no honey production for some beekeepers. And we have to go to the big extent also of using helicopters to collect this honey.
Aunque la planta Manuka también se encuentra en Australia, Nueva Zelanda representa casi toda la producción mundial de miel, ya que las exportaciones tienen un valor de $204 millones, y se espera que se cuadruplique hasta alcanzar los 800 millones en 2028. La miel de Nueva Zelanda está protegida por una norma de calidad que salvaguarda las propiedades especiales de la Manuka.
This honey is an expensive honey, and anything that is expensive, people will try and copy. People will try and mimic, or people will try and cheat. So a lot of the cost here isn't actually in the protection of it, or the research, so we know it's unique, we know it's from New Zealand. We can identify it. We've put labs around the world to be able to do this identification. The New Zealand government has set up a standard to say what is Manuka honey.
¿Cómo funciona este procedimiento? ¿Y qué es exactamente lo que se investiga? Para averiguarlo, hablamos con el Dr. Adrian Charlton de Fera Science, un laboratorio en el norte de Inglaterra en el cual se analiza la miel de Manuka para identificar sus compuestos únicos.
As standard, we will test for 3 compounds: dihydroxyacetone, which is known as DHA, methylglyoxal, known as MgO, and hydroxymethylfurfural, HMF. These are the basic tests that we would undertake to make sure that Manuka honey contains the antimicrobial characteristics that the consumer would expect. We can detect them, but we can also measure the concentration of them, and that's done using UV light to detect at a particular wavelength the individual compounds. Each compound has slightly different properties. But because of the issues in the past with potential fraud, there's a suite of other tests, including tests for compounds such as Leptospermum, which is a marker that's unique to the nectar of Leptospermum scoparium. We can trace then the honey back to its botanical origin, the plant that it came from.
Las etiquetas de un frasco de miel de Manuka pueden ser confusas. Por eso, ¿cómo te das cuenta si es pura?
So in some cases they're labelling for the concentration of a compound, so MgO 300 would indicate 300 milligrams of methylglyoxal in that particular pot of honey per kilogram, to NPA, which is non-peroxide activity. Now that's related to the methylglyoxal concentration, but it's a more direct measure of the antimicrobial activity of the honey. Other marks, such as UMF, are quality mark, that if you can see a particular stamp on a product that it's been tested and assured to a certain standard, so that's different to actually labelling it with the concentration of a particular compound.
Otro factor que está haciendo subir el precio de la miel de Manuka es su uso en los productos de salud y belleza. Esto es porque tiene propiedades antibacterianas y antiinflamatorias que calman y nutren la piel. Además, se dice que ayuda a reducir las manchas y el acné.
There's been a number of studies that have tried to determine the health benefits of Manuka honey, and there are some very positive results, and certainly in terms of antimicrobial activity we can show that Manuka honey has antimicrobial activity in the laboratory. Those clinical trials over a long period of time have not been undertaken as of yet, but there are lots of reports that indicate that Manuka honey has benefits, but as yet unproven.
El hecho de que todavía no se han determinado las propiedades medicinales de la miel de Manuka no ha impedido que gane popularidad. El precio y la demanda de este tipo de miel son tan altos que la policía neozelandesa ha recibido cientos de denuncias de robos de colmenas, miel e incluso envenenamiento de abejas. La pregunta es, ¿la miel de Manuka realmente sabe diferente a las demás?
Oh my god, that is delicious. The flavour is really strong.
It's very thick compared to normal honey.
It's got a kind of chestnutty flavour. It's not as sweet as usual honey. It's really smooth.
And the taste is pretty similar to what I'm used to. The texture is really interesting. It's very, very thick, almost like creamy.
La miel de Manuka realmente vale 100 veces más que otras mieles. Eso lo decides tú. Pero lo que sí es seguro, es que ninguna otra miel del mundo es tan rara y única, como para tener que pasar por un laboratorio antes de ser vendida.